you check the children. Show a little Maxim now.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil, Laird,
Robert Duell,
And Jaime Fuego here.
and we are here to do a review of something I did a unboxing, well, not an unboxing, but it was a part of a haul video from a few months back, and that is the anime Parasyte the Maxim. So when I did the unboxing, I was really excited because I got this for the sole reason that when I Googled horror anime, top horror anime, this one was listed on a bunch of lists, and I hadn't checked in a couple of years.
Rightfully so.
Since I watched through Claymore a few years back. But this came out since then. This is like 2017.
Yeah.
So it's actually really recent, and this is essentially what would happen if intelligent versions of John Carpenter's The Thing started taking over the world.
Yep.
And specifically individual humans.
Yeah.
And so the story is actually about a high school student by the name of Shinichi Izumi, as his hand is the one that gets infected by one of these creatures, one of these little, at least it starts off as like a little insect kind of creature that infects him, but because of how he reacts to it and sort of ties his arm off, the thing is unable to infect his brain, so instead it's only in control of his right arm and hand. The story is about him as he and this intelligent creature that can actually literally speak to him through the hand, form a mouth, form eyeballs, and actually talk to him about his viewpoint on things, or its viewpoint on things.
And strange venom-like weapons, too, I must say.
Correct, yeah. Including blades, full-on steel blades and things like that. So,
super dope.
it's what do we do when this invasion is taking place, and how does this high school kid deal with everything, and how does it affect his immediate family and friends and all of that? And this is just a single 24-episode series. So these are the live action movies. You can't really see because it's such a soft... There you go. Sorry, Robert. That's that's what the live action DVD looks like, or Blu-ray rather. So we're going to be reviewing this later on, but this is a awesome animation. I got it with high hopes because so many people had put it at their tops, and now I can see why. I've only all the way watched through a couple of animes, one being Claymore, this one being another. I watched through most of Death Note, but I think I abandoned that at one point. But I read the whole thing, but yeah.
Wingbird's movie's terrible.
I still need to get some other animes. I think Gantz is going to be moving up in my list now that we talked about Gantz Zero. But
Scumpy.
let's talk about this, you guys.
Dude, Akira, Vampire Hunter D.
I did watch
Berserk,
Akira. I did watch Akira.
You need to watch Tokyo Ghoul.
Okay.
That's another
I
one
wasn't
that
sure
I've
if that or
heard.
that
I've heard
Devilman
good things about
Crybaby. I
Tokyo
wasn't
Ghoul.
sure.
Both
if
of
that
them,
one-
honestly.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, both of them,
no,
but
okay.
start with Tokyo Ghoul.
How about
Okay.
Blood,
So badass.
Blood the Last Vampire?
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, relax, guys.
Sorry.
I know there's a lot. I'm missing a lot. I get it.
We
Okay.
will educate you.
Yeah, I got it. But let me show you guys what this covers. So this is nuts. This was obviously this is kind of Miggy, the hand creature, which means right. And then you see that there's some, those are some of the blades. And this, I'm going to actually drop in a little bit of footage if I can, where you can see just how nuts it is, because the infected, their faces will literally separate into what almost look like ribbons of flesh
It's like Swiss
before they
cheese.
attack. Yeah, and it's just so good. So ultimately, I loved this series. I thought it was fantastic. As for overall thoughts, then we'll talk about story, the voice acting, the effects, all of that good stuff in turn. But I loved it. Robert had actually seen it beforehand, right? But you did a rewatch.
I did a rewatch for this, yes.
So what did you think?
Just as good as I remembered.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, I've loved every second about this. Just the sheer fun, the brutality of it and everything. And just the cool originality of the parasites infecting the people, because how they infect it, they go for your brain, and that's where all these mutations come from. Why it's just mainly coming from the head, is because that's where they're based off of.
And there is one other
And
character we encounter who is the same as Shinichi.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
But
you come across other parasites and everything that have. Well, I'm not really going to say a spoiler and everything, but there is another entity with multiple in one, which is a
It becomes
killer
our kind of end game.
Yeah, that is a killer couple episodes right there with that guy. I will tell you.
Yeah, so go ahead, Fuego. Your thoughts? Overall thoughts?
Oh no, this was
because Fuego was late to this party. I
was.
told him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I'd like to watch that." And then, boom, he cruised through them when I didn't think he'd have time to. But
yeah, in the midst of self-quarantining and social distancing and all that other silliness.
This is we're all 6 feet from each other.
Yes, exactly.
It's an optical illusion.
Yeah. No, but I have to say, I was very impressed with this show. I mean, especially as to, like, it can have a horror element, but it can also have a very just sincere family element and a romantic element, and
there was some times where my eyes got wet.
Yeah, it spanned the gamut, man.
I might have had a frog or so, but yeah.
No, it honestly got me. There was one in particular where I was joking with Robert off camera before this. There was this girl who's kind of obsessed with Shinichi, and she keeps imagining herself like naked in his arms, and we're not going to spoil what happens, but that stuff got me, man. It got me, and it was like at the halfway point, and so it's dramatic, it's violent, and it has a lot to say about society too, and the fact that how much does humanity actually do good for this planet in comparison with what we take from it, and there's very resounding just thematic elements in this that are very important in my regard. So,
yeah, you posted a Facebook post earlier today with a quote.
It's in the second, man, it just
such
floored
a good quote.
me. It floored me when that person said that.
Yeah, it says it may not be your fault, but it is your fate.
Yeah,
and it's a really good. There's a lot of actually deep questions answered or asked rather. In this show, I was surprised, and when I watched the trailer for the live action movies, it seems like it's going to be sort of a different kind of approach, but they're trying to do the same sort of thing. But yeah, as far as let's jump into the story, because that's all. It's like it goes aggressive, like it's a all or nothing thing where this is a global event that everyone is dealing with. We obviously only focus on Shinichi's area, but this is something all these parasites have dropped everywhere and just appeared and started to infect, and it takes a long time before the population as a whole even finds out about them. And so that it's a giant arc. Like, that's the nice thing about a good complete series. You get a full arc. You don't get them trying to drag things out that aren't meant to be dragged out.
The Outsider.
Fair. Yeah. But it's really interesting, and Shinichi grows. He's a much more withdrawn introvert to start, and eventually grows out of it, gets stronger faster, loses his glasses, and
becomes more handsome.
Yeah, exactly, and like starts to worry a little bit less, but he's still got that same kind of dry delivery. So
yeah, he almost loses his sense of personhood though, and the fact
that there's a reason why that happened,
right?
Yeah, with the whole blood flow.
Yeah,
without spoiling stuff.
Yeah, the repair, the chest repair.
Yeah,
that's what actually removed a lot of his human qualities.
Yeah, which when they see him in the locker room at that one particular point, they're like, "Oh, we can see why you're trying to hide that," and yet there's different, motivations behind it, obviously.
So story-wise, Robert, it works for you?
Oh yeah, I love this anime. Everything about this is great, and I'm excited to watch finally the live action because I've yet to get to watch those. I've been wanting to watch them for a while, and then like especially with all the new coming like the live action anime movies that they're doing. So they have like they have a Bleach one.
Yeah, well, that's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, they have Inuyasha, which looks amazing. So I'm super excited to see to watch Parasyte and see how they did.
Yeah, me too.
Like I was telling you earlier, like the live action of what they did for Gantz was just as good as what they did for
and that's
like,
the one
the
you
anime.
guys just reviewed.
Yeah, we just reviewed Gantz Zero. Yeah, the CGI.
Yeah, I started watching it, but
really cool.
Finish it.
Yeah,
finish it. It's definitely worth it. So Fuego, story-wise for you?
Oh, story-wise, it was great. Although I must admit that I kind of preferred the first half of the story compared to the second half of the story.
I did a little bit too.
When the government gets involved and there's the awareness and the infiltration and all that other stuff, I didn't dig it quite as much as when it was like the school kids and the craziness of that particular aspect. But they rounded it out in those last 2 episodes so very well because they made it more personal once again, and they actually showed that despite the fact that there is this particular parasitic just purveyor of nastiness, there is also that same thing within humanity, and they doubled down on that at the end. And in the final episode, the villain is not who you would expect it to be necessarily, which I really appreciated. So,
Yeah. So let's talk about the Gore. Obviously, we're a horror show, and this is it's
First
just
episode,
so great.
dude, they go right for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit weird where some things happen really fast and with less gore than you'd anticipate, but I mean, there's stuff I mean, I'll show you, I think, a clip or two if I can, but there's the head just basically snatches up another person's head immediately.
Basically a Demogorgon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically a Demogorgon. Yep, he just comes in, just crap, there goes his head.
Yep.
And you're done.
And just eats them really fast.
Yeah,
I wonder where the Duffers derived some inspiration.
Yeah, maybe. But nonetheless, it was it was actually probably about the same time as the first season.
16, 17, yeah, I guess you're right.
But nonetheless, it was really, really awesome, and I'm telling you, the effects when the things started to attack and fight, like when Shinichi's hand starts fighting and he's just standing there. Migi, and he's just standing there, and the hand is like doing all the things, whereas the person's head completely separates and forms these steel blades and starts, and you can just see a blur of movement in between them, like just really, really cool effects wise. I loved it,
dude. I even like the whimsy of like the chin going downward with his other guy who didn't have the brain infection.
Yep.
Domo or
I don't remember his name. Yeah,
names are totally eluding me, unfortunately. But I thought like he was great comic relief, and that was really funny in that regard. I mean, he was a cool counterbalance to.
He cries at everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what is this guy's problem?
You would too if you had him where it was and everything. That'd be embarrassing.
And you guys totally owe us one because we saved your ass last time.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah, no, definitely that character was really nice and everything. I kind of actually forgot about him until the rewatch.
Yeah, and you think it's dead, and then it comes back, and it's fun. No, it was good.
So character-wise, I thought all the characters served the story well. His kind of on-again, off-again girlfriend that was constantly pining for him just gets a little bit old, but I think that's more cultural than anything, because I think that's something that the Japanese culture leans on a lot more than we do in America. So I think that's kind of standard for them
in their animes and everything.
Yeah,
so you see that quite often with the lead, and then their second, and then the second.
Just loves him so much, in spite of how
very much
he
the
is.
like hushed longing, like
yeah.
It happens so much in the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But character-wise, you guys were happy with it all?
Yeah, it was just the minor little issues and everything. It just kind of dumb decisions and everything, but again, that was just more so for the character and everything like that. But other than that, like, all the characters did definitely serve their purpose pretty well. Again, like I'll say it again. There was a couple dumb decisions, but I can't really say them because they're going to be too much spoiler.
Shinichi's various prospective love interest.
Fuego and I were talking about this off camera just a little while ago and everything, and it's like, it's dumb decision after dumb decision that could have been. What's the word I'm looking for?
Avoided.
Well, basically avoided. Yeah.
Okay.
In a sense, for
averted, whatever.
Yeah, in the most part.
So dumb decisions, but the way the characters were at least played were fine. I mean, all of that worked well.
Yeah, I didn't like the government officials very much. I didn't like
the police force towards the end were a little callous.
Yeah, exactly. Mistakenly killing people who weren't infected and all this different stuff. I mean, that was where the story started to go off the rails for me a little bit. I felt like it could have been more contained to like 16 to 18 installments as opposed to 24. That's where I felt like there was some stretching going down, and then like loss of said Parasyte at one particular point in the woods, and then and hanging out with the old woman and all that. It was just like, that's where it felt like this story was stretching itself.
They were definitely throwing some in between stuff in there just to stretch it out, but it wasn't too heavy-handed.
Yeah.
No, it was still great. I mean, what am I gonna say? It's minor gripes at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I mean, production design, creature design, all of that stuff is awesome. It's an anime, obviously, so they can draw everything, but it's such a unique, well, not unique, but it's such a distinct style for all the creatures and everything, and they were all really engaging and not unlike Gantz. I was on board anytime a creature was on screen doing anything.
Because they're really original.
Yeah.
Like the design of it and everything, even just basic story of it was pretty original, and that's kind of hard to find nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, and I also really enjoyed the essence of conflict, even in that one woman who has the child and stuff.
Yeah.
She was
girl, yep.
really in the fact that she has her own kind turn on her because of the fact that she is feeling that sort of like maternal instinct kick in and stuff. Like, it's really kind of crazy, man. There was a lot of nuances explored within this show that I really appreciated a lot as far as storytelling
But it just
goes.
shows too. Also, it's like the fear of the unknown. Like going back to the whole military part. You know, them killing people that they were basically just unsure of.
Right.
That's that paranoia that would happen in this situation.
Yep.
Of course, I mean, Japan dealt with it, you know, post, World War II with all the radiation and stuff like that.
And then Godzilla.
Yeah, exactly. Gojira.
Can't forget about Gojira.
So yeah, guys, Parasyte the Maxim is very much worth your time. There are levels to which you can enjoy this series, and I highly recommend it. It was only like $30 for the entire thing, so it's more than worth your time and
Streams
and
on
money.
Hulu right now.
Streams on Hulu. There you go. Boom.
That's
you
where
don't
I
even have to
watch.
invest the money. So check it out, guys. Parasyte the Maxim. If you like creatures, if you like cool action and nutty sort of effects, this is one that you want to check out. But thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe. And the link in the description box is for our Patreon if you want to tell us movies and stuff for us to either review or do commentaries for. We have a commentary planned for The Blob later tonight. So thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Robert Duell.
Now I'm in Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.
Oh, sucker.